Hmm.
Woohoo!
We've talked previously about how our earlier beliefs, those beliefs that happened before we're even conscious of being someone who thinks about the world, underpin a lot of the beliefs that we have and how we think about the world.
Yeah.
So this time I want to go just even a little further back to talk about some factors that affect the way you think that exist prior to you ever even existing. Let's talk about one of the oldest ones. Our environment, the planet Earth.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I want us to talk about the fact that the planet Earth is a competitive environment. Let me give you a definition that pertains to our conversation today.
Okay.
So, life is matter, competing for resources, where the information for success is propagated.
Evolution from the very beginning has made animals and plants and life be able to survive and work best in different environments.
What is the mechanism whereby information is passed on from one generation to the next?
Your genes, your genetics.
If the planet Earth is a competitive environment for what exists,
Yeah.
and only those things that can compete successfully for resources and pass that information on to subsequent generations end up existing.
Yes.
How do you think that affects the brain, our thinking tool, that was born from that competition?
So you got this lizard brain, this animal brain, this instinct part of your brain, and it helps you. It has your very base stuff, and then humans are more advanced, and we also have our thinking, but it's all kind of mixed together, and the thinking is came after the instincts.
Well, so I think you're bringing up an important point there. The fact is that our brains are not just the subject of something to live life as human beings today.
Yeah.
They are something that have developed over time. And we have very ancient functions in our brains, and we have more modern functions.
Yeah.
And those functions are super isolated. Humans are great at recognizing faces.
Yeah, that's something.
And it would seem like that would be part of our normal visual processing centers, how we process all information. But the way that our brains actually work is we literally have a part of our brain that is specifically dedicated to just recognizing faces.
Yeah, I've heard of this disease where you're unable to recognize people's faces.
Right. So if you suffer brain damage in that very specific function, you can't recognize faces. You can literally see and talk about things and describe faces and talk about what color they are and noses and mouths and everything else, but you can't recognize someone else. That can be extremely confusing for us.
Yeah.
Because we have all of these subfunctions and subroutines running these processes that have developed through millions of years. And they all compete for our attention to some degree. And it becomes our task in life to navigate between those various urges, feelings, thoughts, and construct something whole out of that.
It's the brain is this jumbled up piece of nonsense, and this is this whole complete sort of thing. And it is a complete sort of thing in a way that's made up of a million little puzzle pieces that that are like completely different, that are like parts of different puzzles.
Let's talk about information technology. So, obviously information technology has changed a lot over the past couple thousand years. Talk to me about that evolution.
It started out people just like talking to each other, like word of mouth, and you just get passed on. And it was basically this giant game of telephone, which is not reliable in the slightest. But then you got to people like actually starting to write stuff down, and they would write stuff down. But you just write stuff down, and then you don't have publishers, you don't have Amazon to ship it across the world. So what do? Maybe you put it in a library, but also you just got these factories full of people that are copying these books. And
scholars, right?
Yeah,
at the time.
Yeah,
it was a job.
Yeah. It was a whole job, and you got copying these books to spread them out to more people. But then you got the printing press, and that like allowed you to do so much more. It was like this huge, absolutely gigantic invention because it allowed you to spread information so much more. From like you got this one person that wrote a book, and you got allowed to spread it across thousands of people, which is like not that much in today's scale. But you have to compare it to what the scale was previously. And then, of course, you started actually getting involved in technology. You got stuff like the radio. And the radio is just people being broadcast into other people's homes. You have this one person talking on the radio, and it's being broadcast directly to you, to like thousands, like millions of people. And then you got the TV. And the TV was this like huge invention. It's kind of like the radio, and you got the people talking on TV, and you got TVs in your home, and the information just gets absolutely everywhere. And you got all these different channels, and you get a bunch of people talking to a bunch of people, except like the bunch of people that are talking is significantly less than the people that are listening and watching.
Well, so in each of these technological advancements, it enabled a single person's voice to get communicated to a greater number of people.
Yeah.
But what percentage of people got their opinions expressed through those mediums, do you think?
Like less than 1%.
Less than 1%?
Yeah.
Right? So, not a lot of opinions getting expressed.
No.
Like, some opinions getting expressed to a lot of people.
Yeah.
But not a ton of opinions getting to use those channels. No. Right? Like, when I was a kid in TV, there were only 4 channels. Really? Right? So, literally only 4 voices happening across the country at any given time.
Insane.
So, what effect do you think that had on the voices that got that privilege, the voices that were shared across the entire country?
Their voices, their opinions were seen as the voices, the opinions. They were what you were listening to, and a lot of people saw what they thought as true.
Well, right. So there was almost a consensus built through the technology itself.
Yeah.
And who got to be on TV?
The TV producers and like the channels and probably the government too, and like a whole lot of people went into the effort of choosing like this one person and what this one person was saying on TV.
So there was a pretty huge filter.
Yeah.
Over what got put on or broadcasted the entire nation.
Yeah.
And let's, since we're talking about beliefs and truth and those sort of things, what do you think the standard was for someone to speak authoritatively on one of the 3 major or 4 major networks?
Very high standard, I would assume. Like, I'm not sure if the person themselves would have to be like a super smart person. But the information they were giving would definitely need to be very credible information.
Right. So one of the positives of our centralized media that only stopped being dominant maybe a couple of decades ago was that there was a high degree of editorial control over that information.
Yeah.
The downside being that dissenting voices were hard to get out.
Yeah.
Well, so now things have radically changed with the internet.
Very different.
Right? And now anyone can have a global voice. And
anyone can say anything and get so much attention for it.
It's not even only a matter of getting attention for it, right? It's literally having the technological ability to express and to have a statement be disseminated to everyone in the world.
Yeah.
Anyone can do that.
Yeah, anyone can do that, and it just depends on how many people are going to see it.
I was fortunate to be part of the generation that built the internet. When our generation first started thinking about how to design this and things that would be popular, the first thing we thought of was, well, people will congregate around topics.
Yeah.
So we had like topical chat rooms.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first time where a bunch of people who cared about the same thing all got to talk to each other about that thing.
From like everywhere, like from like a bunch of places, like,
But we didn't know each other.
No, you didn't know each other.
Right? So that was the crazy thing. Like total strangers talking about a specific topic who were all interested in that topic.
Yeah.
How do you think that would shape the opinions and the beliefs that were getting created through those chat rooms?
You're able to like talk to people about like your very specific interests that no one in your town knows of, but then also you're like all kind of like different manifestations of like the same person. So if like one person says something, then you're just gonna then it's like it could be like treated as like this credible thing, like this like super like fact, when it's really just like this not that great opinion.
Well, right, and so that's how we kind of get the concept of the echo chamber.
Yeah, the echo chamber, exactly. That was what I was trying to say.
But surprisingly to us, at least, to those of us who are trying to develop those technologies, they weren't very popular. They didn't really dominate the internet. They weren't. That's not how the internet really took off, or social media took off. And I've just kind of given the clue as to the change that really made social media what it is today.
Facebook.
Well, and specifically, what Facebook did was, rather than group people based on topics, they grouped people based on the people they already knew and trusted.
Yeah.
And that changed everything. Because all of a sudden, we weren't getting our information and our beliefs from centralized, vetted authorities. And we weren't getting them from strangers who all shared information about a particular topic. But we were getting them from people that we already trusted and knew.
Yeah.
But had no expertise whatsoever.
No. Literally nothing about these people meant that they would give good information, but you trusted them because you trusted them.
Talk to me a little bit about the effect that has on belief formation. Because we already talked about, we humans don't necessarily do the homework when forming beliefs.
Yeah, no research is put into it like whatsoever.
And we base our beliefs on people we trust. It's a trust relationship.
When you have these people that you really trust because you know them and you trust them, that's getting all your information from them is so terrible, because you're way more likely to not put any research to it at all. And yeah, people in general are not good at research, but you might like do a quick Google if like some random stranger on the internet told you something. But if like your friends and your family and you trust them absolutely, completely, 100%, you're getting absolutely all of your information from them, you are not going to be getting a lot of good information.
In the early stages of the internet, we had the echo chambers based on interest.
Yeah.
But as you said, the only trust you developed with those people was based on the information they gave you.
Yeah.
Right? So good information actually got populated up.
Yeah, and also your opinions might get yes by all the other people around you, and so like you definitely would get a few false things because echo chambers, but you don't actually trust them. So if they just tell you something randomly, then yeah, like that was not something.
Well, and let's not be confused. Like those early chat rooms, just like they are today. Like if you said something about a topic in a topically based chat room that was obviously not true, the rest of the people would let you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas with our information coming from people we already have a pre-existing trust relationship with, like they can say whatever they want.
They can say whatever they want. They can say literally anything. And if you're getting all your information from these people that you trust, then you're getting all your information from this faulty source, and then your whole like worldview is going to be a little bit wonky, a little bit off, and a lot of times a lot wonky and a lot off.
Well, and you made an interesting point that it's kind of reverted back now to more topically based things than socially based things. So it started off with, we tried topical. There just wasn't a close enough connection for it to really kick off. Then we tried social. And because we trusted those people and were interested already in the people we knew, it really took off. But then once it took off and we started getting all of our information from individuals rather than authorities, we kind of reverted back to the topically based.
Yeah, and also something you do have to consider now is that, like, in chat rooms and stuff, yes, they are strangers on the internet, and your connection to them is through a topic that you share. But like now, people that build like relationships with people like on the internet, like on either like romantically, which like it's like questionable, or just like friendships, which is like I guess also questionable, but I feel slightly less questionable. You build friendships, you build relationships, romantic or otherwise, with these random strangers on the internet, and you build trust with them, like just through that. And it might not be as well founded as the trust you have with like your mom or like your best friend IRL in real life, but it is still a form of trust.
Well, and one thing that I've found throughout building platforms in this technology is that real trust is created through chat.
Yeah.
You can fall in love with someone through chat.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't pointing out like the falsity of the feelings. I think like romantic or otherwise, like feel like the real like feelings you have are for people are feelings you have for people. I was pointing out like the person like could just randomly like be like this like child predator.
Yes, right.
That was kind of
Everyone on the internet is a dog.
Yeah.
We've gone through centralized authorities providing us our information that was subject to some degree of peer review, to anyone being able to have an opinion, and at first those being expressed through somewhat credible, topically based chat rooms.
Yes.
And then completely thrown out by being spread by just people you knew, friends and family. And then let's throw in the cherry on top, the where we're at right now, where companies who make money from you being on these platforms have algorithms.
That is mostly the result, but what you're trying to do is keep them on the platform.
Bingo.
Keep you entertained.
Will keep you there, keep your attention.
Yeah.
Right? So we now have algorithms whose only purpose, they're amoral. Yeah, no. Right? Their only purpose is a business purpose. Yeah. And that purpose is to keep you there.
Yeah, they want to keep you there.
So what are some ways that an amoral algorithm whose only intention is to keep you there, what tactics might they use?
They'll like see what things you like and try to give you more of those things that you like. And they'll also try to give you people similar to you because like, like people that are similar, you enjoy talking to people that are similar to you, and they will try to probably reaffirm things that you already believe in, because that's really what people like to see. They really like to see like, oh yeah, I am right and I am smart and this thing that I believe in is factual.
Well, I think you nailed it right there, right? So the algorithms want you there and they don't care why you're there.
Yeah.
But the algorithms know better than we ourselves know that the one thing we like best is to be right.
Is to feel smart, yeah.
And so they pump you with information that confirms what you already believe. Mm-hmm. What do you think the consequences for the world are that?
Well, you got a whole bunch of different people that all believe like that believe different things, and then they believe those different things to be fact.
Through these talks that we've had over the past few weeks, are you beginning to get a sense of how complicated it is for a human being to navigate our information feeds at this point and to discern what's real and what isn't?
You have like you have the things that happened before you were born, things that happened in your very early childhood when you didn't even know what beliefs were, and you just accepted everything to be fact because the people were there that you trusted. And you can have little beliefs battling going on in your head because they're contradictory, and like a lot of times like you actually need to get rid of one of those. You need to come to a consensus in your head to decide which belief is true. But a lot of times people don't do that, and that means that neither of those beliefs are credible, even if one of them is true. And consensuses are just when the whole world agrees on something. Well, as time has progressed, consensuses have gotten more reliable just because information has gotten more reliable using like the tools we use to use them, and just because of the very like nature of information is it builds off of itself and it becomes more reliable as time goes on. So consensuses are more reliable now. They weren't a while ago, and it means that a lot of the stuff in our normal society, like just like even like laws, very, very big stuff, very important stuff, can be based on a consensus that happened a while ago when information was not exactly reliable.
And our social media, the ability for every single person to have a voice, is destroying that consensus that was built through centralized information technology.
Yeah, it is.
Are you beginning to understand why in this world, at this very point, that knowing what to believe and our ability to come to some consensus is a really difficult task?
Yeah.
So in that last episode on belief, we really looked at the way that technology throughout history has affected the way that we believe.
Yeah, how technology advancing has changed from how people talk to each other, how people communicate with each other, and pass their beliefs on. And how now, in our new age of technology, our beliefs are mostly coming back to us through the algorithm.
Right, and so having our beliefs reinforced through algorithmic selection of what information we receive could be a key to why we have such radical disagreement right now.
Yeah.
So what's next? We're done with beliefs.
Yeah, we're finally done with beliefs. Moving on from epistemology, which is the discussion of beliefs, and we are going into ethics, which is the discussion of right and wrong.
Great, and we're going to do that through talking about something a little bit weird for us, the 7 deadly sins.
And their corresponding virtues.
All right, I look forward to it.
See you next Friday, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
Right, like and subscribe.